the group that you can.
Oh, well, and that's not the intention of the idea.
Germans did.
And that's not the
to the Jews.
And that's not the intention of the idea.
Hang on, if it was there timing on
is that not the intention? The only reason. The only reason.
Let me finish my point.
They just haven't
finished.
Hold on, no. Hold on a second. Hold on a
The
second.
Israeli army wanted to kill as many Gazans as they could, right? So you're saying
the acts of genocide.
Hang on, you're saying, right?
Brothers, stop.
Masses of bombs, yes, couldn't kill more than 6,000 people.
I'll tell you now. No. The only reason. Understand this.
Holocaust.
No. Brothers. Hold on a second.
Hitler, Holocaust.
No, Akhi.
Hitler, Holocaust woman. Hitler, Holocaust. There was no social media. There was no TV.
Right.
Otherwise, he would do the same thing. He would kill bit by bit.
Well, yeah, I need to go in a bit.
That's what he did.
I need to go in a bit. So let me finish this.
Because of social media, because of the satellite, because of the war.
No.
What is the point? From a strategic point of view,
understand this. The whole way. No.
If you're genocidal, right? Which I don't think they are, but if you think the Israelis,
guys, if you're not going to let me handle this, inshallah.
What is the point?
Let me handle this, inshallah.
6,000 people over 3 weeks, over 3 years, or 10,000 out of 2.3 million people. What's the point? It's completely useless.
Get rid of them.
Yes,
completely
Palestinians will just have more babies, and it's not going to work. So it's nonsense. The whole genocide thing is utter bullshit.
No, it's not, because you mentioned that the intention should be there. Oh no, brother, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
I'll tell you what to go. I'll tell you what I call it. It's very
because
simple.
you're like, you guys are not letting me finish. Let me tell.
I've been to Israel hundreds of times. My friends are in the army. I'm very close to the former Prime Minister.
Khalina, let me deal with them. Let me deal with them. All right? Because
do you want to hear it?
What is it?
okay.
The Israeli people, on the whole, there are exceptions. There are right-wing maniacs. The Israeli people, in the whole, want peace.
They do not want peace. They do not want peace. Okay?
They desperately want peace.
No.
They do. Wait. You are no.
Okay, you know. Leave it. Take this off.
Let me answer the question. Let me answer.
Well, everyone's jumping in.
Let me answer your question. There was an attack on Israeli settlements, on civilians. Hundreds of people were murdered in their homes and in a festival. They were murdered in their cars. They were shot. They were kidnapped. Yeah? That's a lie. Hundreds of people. No, okay. According to my understanding, hundreds of people were murdered. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, khalas.
Israeli people and their government. The Israeli people and their government and their defense.
Yeah, just take it off because khalas. The discussion's been derailed. The discussion has been derailed. They got involved. The brothers got involved.
And killed them. Also, there's thousands of rockets. Thousands of rockets flying into Israel every day.
Okay,
go back to the continued debate.
Okay.
And try to
The thing is here, I'm going to go back because I said I need to go in a bit. I was actually meant to go 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
My friend's waiting for me.
No,
but listen. In terms of, I am here next week. Fortunately, I usually come once a month, but I am here next week, and we can have a real discussion on this.
What time do you come normally?
I'll come about between 1 or 2. I'm going to be here, and I'll probably leave around this time.
Okay.
And hopefully next week we can be a bit calmer. Okay?
Sure.
I said I'll only raise my voice if you do.
Fine.
Now that's all right. My apologies as well. In terms of going forward, I'm clear in my position. I'm not unapologetic. Okay? I'm a Muslim, that is my identity before it is an Arab. And Palestine are considered a Muslim land. And the people, when the Jews were under Muslim rule for the majority in Palestine, for the majority of their time, they witnessed justice, even as dhimmis. So a dhimmi is a title, it is not derogatory. Okay? It is simply a different class of tax. Right? The Muslims have zakat, and the Jews and the Christians have jizya. It's a different tax, okay? And the Muslims pay more for the security of the land than the Jews and the Christians. So when I say that the Jews are welcome in the land of Palestine, they can live there. Even under Sharia law, and the Jews who lived in Palestine throughout the Sharia law. They did. They lived
1930 whatever.
No, I'm talking about the Ottoman law was Sharia, for the most part. For the most part. I'm not saying it was
no,
perfect.
The Ottomans did not. It's not true. My wife's from Turkey, and I've studied a little
No,
bit
no,
of Turkish law.
I've Turkish. No,
law.
there's
The
a difference
Ottomans
between
didn't
Turkish law and
impose the Ottoman
the
Sharia
Ottomans.
law on countries that they colonized. They didn't.
no. They had vassal states. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Now the thing is, no, but in terms of the law of the land, it was primarily the Sharia. The vassal states could have run their countries as they pleased because they were vassal states. But anything that was directly under the control of the Ottomans was done under Sharia law for the most part. It wasn't perfect, but Palestine included, right? And I'm talking about from the 7th century onwards to 1917. The Jews have the absolute right to run their people according to the Mosaic law, okay? Under a Sharia state, because this is the privilege that they have as the people of the book. We call them our cousins.
Atheists and Hindus and Buddhists and all these people who aren't people of the book.
The people.
How does that work? Like most people I know in Israel.
At the end of the day, the Muslims have we have a system which incorporates all of mankind. Okay, so if an atheist was, and we prioritize the security and the stability of the society above the individual. Hold on a second. But the individual, if the individual wishes to do as he pleases in the privacy of his home or in the with his family or whatever, that's theirs.
Outside his home, if you want to go to the beach and wear a bikini.
No, because now we're talking about bringing things into the public sphere.
I don't believe in Islamic law. I don't want Islamic law. It's irrelevant to me. I don't believe in Islam.
It doesn't matter.
The Muslims. I don't believe in the Prophet. Blessed be.
No one asked. No one said to you.
I don't want to live.
I don't believe.
I want to live in a secular state.
I don't believe in the.
Muslim,
I don't believe in the laws of this
tell me
country.
what to do.
I don't believe in the laws of this country. But as a citizen of this country, do I have to abide by them? Yes or no?
But no one's
do I?
asking you. No
Actually, yes.
You.
My
passport.
My passport. We're not asking you to keep religious law.
You're asking me to be under Sharia law.
We're asking you to abide by societal law. No, we're asking you to abide by societal laws. Right? And
yes,
societal laws are...
Society laws, at least in this country, give me an enormous amount of freedom that Sharia law does not give me.
This country's sense of freedom and our sense of freedom is different, okay?
Yes, it's better in this country. And
that's your opinion.
That's your opinion. It's a shit idea of freedom. It's not freedom at all. It's not. And I don't want your stupid Sharia law. I'm sorry. It's yours. Go to a country with a bunch of other people and have your Sharia law. But I don't want it in this country. I don't want it in Palestine. I don't want it anywhere in the world.
I don't care whether you want it or not.
Sharia law is not for humanity.
Run for Prime Minister.
No,
run for Prime Minister.
No.
Okay?
No.
Run for Prime Minister.
Sharia law is not okay.
Sharia law.
I don't want it.
Sure, I don't care
No one here
that's
wants
fine.
it in this
You can
country.
reject it. You are free to reject it. But if you are in the land,
all my soul.
Good.
Yeah?
But
it's not okay.
That's fine.
Don't stand
that's
here and
fine.
tell me that Israel should live under Sharia law.
Then you can stay here.
Cuckoo land.
That's fine. Then you stay here.
I live in the UK. I'm not living in Israel. I live here.
Then leave Palestine to govern itself.
I do. Listen, I have a lot of people in Israel, Muslims and Jews, who I care about. And I
the
don't
Muslims
want to be
will
in
govern.
a war.
The Muslims will govern
where they are told
oppression.
You either live
I will tell you now.
or we'll shoot
I will tell you
That's
now.
A terrible idea.
I will tell you now.
Terrible.
It's not about Sharia law or death. That is not.
Told me
that is not what it is.
Under Sharia law.
That's exactly what it will be. It will be.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it won't.
Okay. And understand this. For us, oppression is worse than death. We will fight the illegal occupation until it is no more. The Zionist regime will fall.
Maybe it will.
And the
maybe
Jews,
it won't.
and the Jews, no, it will fall. And the Jews, the Jews that remain, and the Jews that remain, if necessary, yes.
Okay.
If necessary, yes.
I want to go back to your lack of condemning Hamas's activities in Israel.
Whoa. Did I or did I not condemn if they done acts of violence which violated Islamic?
They did.
Hold on a second. I said very clearly, right, that if Hamas
did they kidnap an 85-year-old woman?
Listen.
Did they kidnap an 85-year-old woman?
She's a hostage.
Did they kidnap an 85-year-old woman?
She was held hostage.
Yes. Is she 85?
Yes, she's 85.
Is that according to Sharia law?
Yes.
You can kidnap an 85-year-old woman.
We can have we can have prisoners of war.
Can you kidnap an 85-year-old
We can have prisoners.
To Sharia law.
We can have prisoners of war.
Or no.
Are you deaf?
Can you?
Are you deaf?
I'm not deaf. You haven't answered my question.
I have, but you are too busy shouting.
Oh, so you can.
Okay. Lessen your voice. Lower your voice.
Fine.
Okay. prisoners of war is a thing in Islam, okay?
Right.
So if we have a prisoner of war,
Right.
how do we treat them? The age is not specified.
She was a soldier, was she?
No,
They were all
a
well
prisoner of
treated.
war.
She was a soldier.
No,
She
a
was an
prisoner of
85
war.
Have you seen her?
I have seen
Did she
her.
have a gun and an army uniform?
A prisoner of war is not always a soldier. Sometimes it's civilians. Even in the early days of Islam.
Why?
Hold
would
on
a-
a second.
why
Are
would a
you
Muslim
serious?
Take an 85
Are you
woman
serious?
across the border into Gaza?
Okay. Do
according
you
to
want?
Islamic law?
Do you want people to finish? To let you finish?
Just answer my question.
Uh,
Why would
I was in the middle of answering the question.
you haven't answered my question?
I have.
Why is
I
it
have.
okay to take an 85-year-old woman as a prisoner of war? In what circumstances was she in a war that she deserved
Was
to
she
be
in a
taken?
Was she in a war zone? Yes or no?
No, she was in Israel in a settlement.
Israel.
It's not a war zone. She lives
Oh,
in
it's
a
a
country.
bloody war
She
zone.
lives in a sovereign country. Yes, she was living in a house. Excuse me. She was living in a house, minding her own business. Some people went into the house.
Wait,
took
soldiers-
her,
no, hold
got
on a
back
second.
of a
The thing
motorbike
is that-
and took her into Gaza. She's not a prisoner of war. She's a hostage. She was kidnapped from her home, and that is against Islam. And if you don't think it's against Islam, you don't know your own religion. It's anti-Islamic to have kidnapped that woman, and they've now released her. Okay?
I know,
Why
I
did
was
they release
talking-
her? Why?
I'm talking.
Why did they have her in the first place? And her husband's still
I'm
there.
talking-
He's an 85-year-old peace worker. He works for peace. He fought
look.
Shalom Achshav, which means peace now. He
I know
hates
what
the
it means.
occupation. And her husband is still in Gaza. He's 80 or 90 years old. And you tell me
I'm
this
telling
is
you,
Islamic?
I
know
said to
what?
you
You can
that-
be a Muslim
I said
and
to you
say
that's-
some things that other Muslims do are bad. What Hamas
And I
did
have.
was bad.
I have.
So condemn it.
I've already
in front of the camera.
You
Condemn what Hamas
You are
did.
absolutely.
Now
You are
and here.
absolutely. You are absolutely deaf. Okay. You
said
are
you
being
don't condemn
deliberately.
it. You said you don't condemn
I said
it.
I do not condemn.
What is this?
Listen. I'm not speaking to you. Okay. I'm not speaking to you at the moment. Right. I've made it very clear that I do not condemn Hamas as a resistance fighting group. I do not condemn them as terrorists.
ask you to
Hold on a
ask you to condemn
second.
what they did
Hold
in
on.
Israel
Oh,
is
you
what
know
I
what?
asked you to
I'm gonna.
I asked you to condemn. I
Should
said,
we-
do you condemn Hamas
Look, if
for
you
what they did in Israel?
if you haven't got
no,
the
I do
patience,
not condemn them. It's
if
on
you
the
haven't,
film.
if you haven't, I know what's on film. If you haven't got the patience to listen, then we're gonna finish. Right, okay. And I said very explicitly that if Hamas carries out any acts of violence that violates the Islamic rules of war, then I condemn that. I was very clear on that. Now, in terms of taking hostages, hostages is a part of warfare. Okay? To take hostages is a part of warfare. However, what is the conduct of the treatment of these hostages? It is to treat them as you treat yourself. It's to feed them what you feed yourself. That they sit at the table that you are sitting at. That is the condition of the hostages. Now the interesting thing is, listen, listen, absolutely, listen. I'm not done.
Called Martin
Am I not done?
Hayner.
I'm not done. I'm not done.
I want to talk to you about this.
No, I'm going to make this my last point because I already
your
said
last
to
point.
you.
You've got to go home.
I did say this, okay? And we can continue next week. All right, so, and we can have a proper full-length discussion on this, okay? Now, here's the thing, okay? The irony here is that we are always asked to condemn Hamas for taking hostages when Hamas treats the hostages as well. But look on the other side. How do the IDF treat the hostages, the Palestinian hostages? Oh, you're saying? Wait. Oh, the prisoners. Are they not hostages? So 14-year-olds and then stuff that are taken.
They're not hostages at all. They are prisoners. In the UK, we have 85,000 people in prison. They're not hostages. They've been taken to prison on
What's the difference?
remand
What's the
after
difference?
being found guilty.
Jewish civilians are allowed to have guns.
A child is guilty. A child is guilty.
There are 14-year-olds in remand, yes, in the UK, of course.
14-year-olds are guilty
In
of
the
what?
UK, in the UK, if
I'm not talking about
a 14-year-old
I'm talking about the
kills
UK.
somebody
I'm
or
not
is
talking about
accused of
UK.
killing somebody,
But the
they go on to
14-year-old
remand.
But the
Right,
14-year-old
in
Palestine
the thing is,
that's the difference. A 14-year-old.
We can talk about the stone for a minute.
They throw a stone, and that's why they get.
I don't know who's
the thing is, the 14-year-olds that are in prison is because they're throwing stones at their occupiers.
Yeah, that's against
Oh yeah, okay. Against the rules. Against the rules.
Let me be clear. I don't know what your name is. What's your name?
Mohammed.
Mohammed. Let me be very clear.
What's yours?
Johnny.
Sorry?
Johnny. Let me be very clear.
With
Yes?
Israel, with
The
Palestinian
Israeli
kids.
occupation
Israel
of the
armed
West Bank,
Palestinian
not
kids.
Israel proper, as I call it, of the West Bank, not of Gaza, because the Israeli army.
I don't recognize Israel.
Fine. Let's just talk about the West Bank because we can agree on it. Yeah. The Israeli occupation of the West
I just call it Palestine.
The Israeli occupation of Palestine.
Yes.
And I'm going to talk about the West Bank part of Palestine, and not about Tel Aviv, right? Of West Bank is extremely problematic, morally problematic. Yeah. Very. And I say that on camera, it's problematic. Yeah. Having an army take care of a bunch of people and have guns and tanks and armored carriers and settlers and all this kind of stuff is massively problematic. We can talk about it next week.
We will.
Yes, and problematic means wrong. Yeah. Okay. And the stuff that goes on in the West Bank between the army and the Palestinians has got massive answers to be. People have moral questions to answer. There's no question about it. I'm not. There's no point in discussing it because we agree on that. Yes, there are massive problems with it. Okay, but the Palestinians particularly from Gaza or from the West Bank, who are held in Israeli prisons, as far as I understand it, are not people picked up randomly off the streets. They're there for a particular event that happened, and they believe those specific people were involved in some kind of action, some kind of violence.
I'm going to table
and
it
they
here.
take them out of action.
I'm going to table it here.
Whereas the people who have been kidnapped, yes, like the 85-year-old woman who was taken, has not been involved in anything. She's part of a peace. Do you understand what the Shalom
I understand.
is? It's a peace
I know
movement, which is against the occupation and wants to make peace with Arabs. And they were kidnapped.
Again, the thing is,
kidnapped.
Again, the thing is, we've all seen the footage. She was fine. All right, she was fine with it. She was fine with it. The thing is,
she was not fine with it. She was honest, and she said, "I was treated with dignity,
yes,
and my healthcare was taken care of."
Yes,
and she told what happened.
Right.
But her husband is still there, and she was still kidnapped. It wasn't nice for her.
No.
Horrible.
The picture that you
no one is saying being taken as a hostages.
Was you surprised?
Very surprised.
Anyway, listen. Here's the thing. We're going to table it here now, like I said, because I've got to go.
Absolutely.
However, next week, we'll do this properly and we'll discuss it. We'll discuss the source of the issue and the solution.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Johnny.
Everybody.
All right.
Well. Yes.
What is Israel doing to the Jews?
All right. Oh, I can't see a thing. Where are the cameras anyway? Subhanallah. Yeah, no. So, I think, subhanallah, the Muslims have always been asked to be put on the back foot and always apologize and say, oh yeah, I condemn this, I condemn that. We must call these people terrorists. No. Anyone who fights their occupier is not a terrorist. The term terrorist has been coined by oppressors. Not just the West, but any oppressor who's ever oppressed in history has always deemed the oppressed as the aggressors. And it's about time we stop saying this. Stop saying that the people who are occupied, who are being oppressed, that they are the ones who are somehow committing the aggression. This is not the case. And the Palestinians, mashallah alayhum, they will continue to fight, and they have courage that none of us will ever have. And they will continue to fight until the liberation comes. And alhamdulillah, we are certain of this because it was prophesied by Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam that when the Mahdi comes, Palestine, it will already be freed because he'll walk in and pray. All right. So this is we have to have certainty in this, and we have to have certainty that the Zionist regime will fall. And we should not be apologists about this. We should be allowed to be on camera and express the fact that forget about cancelling. The very fact that we have several cameras here and that this is going to go online, understand the consequences of this. That there is a possibility that people who go on camera and say this, they could lose their jobs. They could lose their homes. And this is the thing about first and second class citizens I was talking about. If you say one thing, you wave a Palestinian flag today, it's deemed a crime. Why is it a crime? Why is it a crime to stand for the oppressed? How cowardly can you be to be afraid of a flag being waved? So I understand this, my brothers and sisters, and for the people who have humanity, who understand what the concept of humanity is. Palestine, it is the land. The Jews accept within their religion that they are a people without a land. And the Muslims have given them security only to have the hospitality and security be repaid in the most demonic of ways. However, because the Muslims are just, we are just people. We are not speaking about the Arabs. We are speaking about the Muslims. Palestine is a Muslim land. And when we retain Palestine, when we regain Palestine from the Zionist regime, the Jews that wish to remain can remain. And Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, when he conquered Palestine and realized there was no Jews, he ordered that the Jews be brought back to Palestine so that they have security in the Holy Land. This is the stance of the Muslims, and this is a noble stance, and we should not be apologetic about it. Rather, we should be proud to have this stance. And this issue, Jazakumullah khairan. Understand that this issue, do not be apologists. Do not be apologists. You understand, and we have Allah who is in control of our affairs. Do not fear the aspects of the threats that come from the West. If they want to cancel you, let them cancel you. They want to take your jobs away, let them take your jobs away. Al-Raziq huwa Allah. He is in control of your risk. And if you end up finding yourself having dates and milk, you say Alhamdulillah, because I stood justice. I did not sell my heart, and I did not sell my mind, and I did not forget my brothers and sisters in Palestine. Rather, now I stand with them and I eat the food that they eat, and I live the way they live. And that way, and Allah will make you victorious, and He will exchange this world for the hereafter, and the hereafter is much better. And أقول قولي هذا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بارك الله فيكم.